Who's in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people? Listen,
That's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
yes.
come out. Come down the road. Come on, come on.
Now for what's tipping the scales in the case against Kimberly Sullivan, the Connecticut woman who's accused of holding her stepson captive in her home for 2 decades in deplorable conditions. Well, we heard from the victim last week when he released his first statement saying, quote, "I am the survivor of more than 20 years of captivity and domestic abuse. I was held prisoner in my home from the time I was taken out of the 4th grade at age 11 until 2 months ago at age 31, when I purposely set the fire that helped set me free." But Kimberly Sullivan's attorney is saying that the charges don't add up. And he is joining us this morning live on the program. I want to welcome him now, attorney Ioannis Kaloidis. Good morning to you. And I think I might have mispronounced your first name. Giannis Kaloidis, is that correct?
You got it. Both ways work.
Okay.
Ioannis is the formal, Giannis is the more casual. And thank you for having me this morning, Julie. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, of course. Well, we're delighted to have you. Giannis, tell us why it was important for you to come on the program, if you would, please.
So, obviously, I wanted to accept your invitation from the day we got it, but I feel it was important to come on here because there has been a lot of media attention, there's been a lot of media scrutiny, and there's been a lot of negative attention directed towards my client. At times, it feels like the whole world has already convicted her, and she is feeling the weight of that. And she's asked me to try and protect her, both in the court and outside of the court. There has been a lynch mob mentality. And what I can tell you is she has maintained her innocence. She has proclaimed her innocence to me. And she has asked me to try and clear her name. So that is why we are here. We are trying to push back on the public narrative that she is, some horrible person. That is not the case.
Giannis, tell us what exactly happened in that house where she and the man who's now 32, her stepson, he's going by S now to not identify himself publicly. What exactly happened in the house where the 2 of them were living?
So, I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover there. There's more than 20 years that they lived in the home together. And what I can tell you is the specifics about our defense, the specifics about what she's going to say, those are going to come out at the time of trial. There is evidence that we intend to introduce. There's witnesses that we intend to call. There's experts that we intend to use. But at this point, it's still premature. What I can tell you generally is my client denies that she ever any restraint on this man. She did not prevent him from leaving the house. She denies holding him captive. She denies depriving him of food and water. She denies all of these allegations.
If she didn't do it, who did?
Well, respectfully, that question assumes that someone did. We don't know that anyone held him captive. We have no evidence to suggest that anyone held him captive. I've spoken to my client. She's made clear that he was not a captive in that home.
Police say, Giannis, that there was an external lock on the bedroom door where S lived. Is that untrue?
That is true. There was an external lock on that door, but there was an external lock on multiple doors throughout the house, and those external locks predated my client ever living in the home. So when she moved in, external locks were on doors throughout the house, and they remained on many of the doors, even today.
Giannis, we know that S was extremely emaciated, 5'9", that's how tall he is, and he weighed 69 pounds at the time he was rescued. Police reported he was very dirty, his hair was matted. They said all of his teeth appeared to have been rotting from his mouth. What's your client's response to that if she was living with him and in a position to help him live well?
So my client, the individual, her accuser, is now 32 years old. He's been an adult for more than a decade. She is not responsible. He's not a child that she's responsible for his care. She cannot force someone to take care of themselves. She cannot force someone to leave the home. She cannot force someone to bathe. Those are all things that were within his control, and we believe that is what the evidence will show at trial. And respectfully, with respect to the weight, there is a lot more that I think will come out with respect to the weight. I have yet to see any medical records from the date he went into the hospital through the present. Obviously, those are going to be at issue. There's going to be medical experts that may testify in the case that may address that. We've gotten some discovery. And what I can tell you, based on some of the Department of Children and Family records that have been produced, weight was a concern from an early age, from as early as 4 years old, again at 8 years old, and again at 12 years old when DCF was involved. And at every step of their involvement, a pediatrician addressed this issue and cleared my client. We are confident that when all the evidence will come out, there will be a different picture that's painted of my client.
Giannis, what about the fire that police say S set so that he could be rescued? That he was deliberately laying down so that someone would literally pick him up and get him out of that house to safety. What does your client say to that?
So we're not even certain how this fire actually started. We know what the accuser has said, but the evidence I have seen does not definitively support that yet. We're still waiting on the reports. The early preliminary fire marshal reports I've seen do not create a strong case in support of how the fire started. So there's still a lot of questions about that. And whether that even makes sense, given all the other options and all the other possibilities and all the other ways one could leave their alleged captivity, this method doesn't make sense. Given the amount of neighbors, now I'm not going to get into all the ways that we're going to cross-examine and poke holes in this story, but I think a critical analysis of this story, critical analysis, extensive cross-examination, and a strong defense, and I think this case will not stand up.
Giannis, you're no doubt a tremendous advocate for your client. Kimberly Sullivan is lucky to have you. From her perspective, what is the story? I just want to make sure I'm clear. Is it that he's living there and she's not holding him captive, not starving him, not abusing him in any way?
That is correct.
Okay. We have to leave it here for now for time's sake. But Giannis, we would be happy to welcome you back as you're able to share more with us from your client's perspective and what went on in that house where police allege Kimberly Sullivan held her stepson captive. Again, just an allegation. She's cloaked in the presumption of innocence. Attorney Ioannis Kaloidis, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're
Thank you.
very
I really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Certainly. Speak soon.